Like, no, you're not. And here's Peter Doocy. I'm telling you, it's almost as if Peter Doocy watches the show. I know he doesn't, but people at Fox do, or at least have seen the show. Here's Peter Doocy laying down the law, baby, for the American people on the White House. Let's roll it.
Thank you. John, what kind of commander-in-chief is President Biden that at a time when American forces are under fire in the Middle East, he can go days without knowing that his defense secretary is in a hospital bed?
Thank you.
Peter, there's a lot to your question, so I want you to bear with me for just a second. First of all, at no time was the ability for the United States military to defend our national security interests compromised. At no time was the commander-in-chief not always in command and control of our military forces around the world. And over the course of those days, we did take military action that he approved, taking out a senior militia commander in Iraq with what we call a dynamic strike, a strike that he had approved many days before, for which the theater commander had full permission to execute. We did.
Are we really supposed to believe this, you guys? Are we really supposed to believe the White House on anything anymore? They don't even have their own shit together. So you're going to sit here and stand on the podium and be the mouthpiece of the leader of the free world and tell us this guy has his shit together and running the country when his own people, like number 6 in line to hold the presidency of the United States, our defense secretary, secretary of defense, passes on his powers to somebody else and you don't have a damn clue, and you're going to be like, and you're going to brag about it. Oh, well, we're actually making military decisions with some other rando having the responsibility of the dude that's supposed to be doing all this stuff and working in unison with our commander-in-chief. You're going to tell us Joe Biden has it all under control? Everything should be trustworthy? You know, come on.
Did shoot down drones and missiles in the Red Sea, our ships at sea, because he made sure they had the existing authorities and the capabilities and the training to do that. So he has been...
I don't mean to keep interrupting, but you guys remember, he's talking about a president that let a spy balloon fly from mainland China over our entire United States and then shoot it out of the sky when it was over the Atlantic. And that wasn't the only time. There's been multiple objects that he supposedly shot out of the sky, which I think was a 16-year-old's birthday balloon, but they won't disclose that still to this day. We don't know what those other 2 objects were that they shot out of the sky, one of which they missed with a $500,000 missile. So we're supposed to have confidence in all of this? Really? The dude can't shoot a freaking spy balloon out of the sky, and we're supposed to have confidence? And now we find out that Lloyd Austin passes his powers on to somebody else and doesn't notify a damn person, and his staff doesn't notify anybody? All the while, we have terrorists pouring across the border. We got Iran committing atrocities across the globe. ISIS commits a terrorist attack. China wants to invade Taiwan. You got Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine's taking billions of dollars in corruption as well. You name it. All this is going on, and this isn't a big deal to Democrats at all. But don't worry, you guys. You're supposed to trust Joe Biden. Joe Biden has everything under control here on John Kirby, and he's going to brag so much about it. Like, well, we killed somebody.
On top of these issues all the way throughout. Now, look, what your question kind of gets to is, and I've seen some of the sniping out there, you know, how effective can the process be if the secretary can be gone and we don't know about it? I think what you need to understand, and what I hope people will understand, is that the national security decision-making process does not require, in fact, should not require, cabinet-level officials being the sole people in the room making decisions on any given day. You staff these things from the middle up, and then the cabinet officials, whether it's Secretary Blinken or Secretary Austin, come together as appropriate to make the key decisions, which happened. It happened on the 1st of January. If you'll bear with me, because I think you're
quite... But it didn't happen, because what decisions were making where Lloyd Austin was present versus when he wasn't present? So what decisions were being made? What strikes were being had and happening around the world, and what military operations were being conducted without Lloyd Austin in the room, which again is the defense secretary? That's the question. But he's going to sit there and manipulate here and go, well, you know, he was in the room in January 1st. What about when he wasn't in the room when nobody knew about all this stuff? Like that's the question that everybody's asking here. And you're trying to just present the one time the dude was in the room miraculously with clearly prostate cancer and still hid it from the president. So the guy came back to work and just didn't disclose a whole medical situation to the president, at least behind closed doors, at least you would do that. Like, hey, man, I have prostate cancer, which is terrible. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm hounding the guy because he didn't disclose it to his boss. It's wild. It's different than you and I, you guys. If you have prostate cancer, do you have to disclose that to your boss? Absolutely not. It's your private medical history. But it's not like this is a normal position that anybody's going to have. You disclose that, so if something were to happen, we are prepared to have somebody, some sort of successor in your position. Things can go south, especially if you're being put under anesthesia.
Question really gets to a bigger issue, and I'd like to just, if I could, with Kareem's permission, I just want to walk you through a little bit of timeline here, because I think it's important context. So on the 31st of December, that was a Sunday, Jake Sullivan held a lengthy secure telephone conference with the Central Command Commander, General Kurilla, to discuss a bunch of issues, the situation in the Middle East, and of course there's a lot to that. The next day, on the 1st of January, President Biden convened a secure telephone conference with Mr. Sullivan, with Secretary Austin, with the Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Brown, Secretary Blinken, the DNI, the CIA Director, and other members of the team. They covered developments in the Middle East. President Biden directed the NSC, Department of Defense, and the State Department to accelerate work with allies and partners on a joint statement on the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, which was to be issued, according to the President's direction, no later than Wednesday. You saw we did that. I came to the podium and read that out. From Monday, the 1st of January, through Wednesday, the 3rd, the National Security Advisor, his deputy, Middle East Coordinator Brett McGurk, spoke repeatedly with their counterparts in multiple foreign capitals to secure the support for that joint statement. Senior NSC officials coordinated hour by hour with senior Pentagon officials who were also making phone calls and securing support from foreign partners. The President's final approval on that statement happened shortly thereafter, and as you know, it was issued on the 3rd of January. Also on the 3rd, there was a Principals Committee meeting on Haiti. And neither Secretary Austin nor General Brown attended. They were represented by deputies. That is not uncommon, that at a principals committee meeting, for whatever reason, a principal may not be able to attend.
Okay, thank you for all the detail on that. But more broadly, why should we believe anything that this administration tells us about anything ever again?
Yes!
I think we all recognize, and I think the Pentagon has been very, very honest with themselves about the challenge to credibility by what has transpired here, and by how hard it was for them to be fully transparent with the American people. I think we all recognize that. And wait, not just.
Did I miss this? Did he just say how hard it is to be transparent to the American people? Hold on a second, guys. I apologize. I gotta go back here. I think I heard him wrong. There's no way in hell he just said that.
How hard it was for them to be fully transparent with the American people. I think we all recognize that. And
what? You heard it. I thought I misheard the guy because it was so outlandish. I'm like, this is so insane. There's no way that this dude just said that. How hard it was just to tell the American people this? Like, what? We're the taxpayers, man. Like, you don't think we have a right to know what's going on? This is what they think of us. They think we're idiots, that we don't need to know anything, that they have everything under control when they don't. That's why everything's going down the dumpster fire with good old Joey in office.
And wait, now just give me a second now. I know you got another one coming here, but we all recognize that this didn't unfold the way it should have on so many levels. Not just the notification process up the chain of command, but the transparency issue. We all recognize that.
Who's gonna be fired?
And I think we all want to make sure we learn from that. It's up to you and your colleagues, and it's up to the American people to determine, how much they're going to ascribe what happened here to our credibility on every single issue. But in every way, Secretary Austin has been an exceptional defense secretary, and he still has the full faith and confidence of the commander-in-chief. He has led the department at an incredibly dangerous time for our national security interests.
I just want to point out, Lloyd Austin is also promoting woke ideology inside our military, so don't give me this stuff like, oh, he's the best commander, he's a really good leader, and all. No, he's not. He's pushing woke agenda, and that's been disclosed in congressional briefings that we've seen on like C-SPAN and other places.
and those of our allies and partners.
But if the administration is going to go to such great lengths to keep secrets about the defense secretary's health, how can anybody be certain that the administration would not go to the same lengths to keep secret problems with President Biden's health in the future?
If you could logically argue, and you can't,
What?
but if you could logically argue that the
He's 81 years old.
Wait a second. Just give me a second here, bub. I'll get there. If the administration made some sort of Machiavellian effort across the board to keep this from getting public, then I think.
Is anybody? What the? Is anybody as baffled as I am with that response? But you can't. Folks, you've been with me for almost 3 years. You know I've questioned his head. For those on audio, this ain't working. Peter is right here. Peter is right. If you're not going to disclose this stuff, like nobody knew, why would we ever trust you with disclosing things about the president? And we've all had suspicions going back to when he was campaigning with the track marks in his arm and the CPAP machine just trying to stay alive, you know? Biden with his teleprompter, fumbling through his words, falling asleep here and there, like getting lost, looking for dead people in the crowd, calling Kamala president, calling Biden or Obama president, like that, looking for generals out there that don't even exist, talking to Secret Service, thinking that they're freaking veterans out there working in our military. Like, it's insane. Peter's right here, and this dude's gonna be like, well, you can't build an argument around that. What the hell? Everybody sees it, bro.
I think your question has merit and certainly is a fair one. I don't think it's a fair one because that's not what happened here, Peter. What happened here is the Secretary of Defense, for whatever reason, I can't answer the question why, that information wasn't shared. It wasn't shared widely in the department, and it certainly wasn't shared with the interagency.
Know.
It's not good. It's certainly not good, which is why, again, we want to learn from this. We want to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
We got to go around.
Oh, yeah, Creole, we got to go around here. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.